Welcome to episode 2, ladies and gentlemen, to Pipe Bomb Sessions. Thanks for returning. Thank you for coming back. And that's a warm welcome for all my new viewers. Welcome, welcome. We're going to be doing a little bit of a recap of both shows as we did last week again. I think one thing that's really cool about WWE is whenever they start doing these international tours, especially because they've noticed what type of crowds that are coming and the hype that are just behind the crowds themselves. This week, WWE went on their European tour, which is always dope because their first stop was this past Friday night on SmackDown in España. And I thought the SmackDown show was pretty good hype wise. On top of that, even if it's not as hyped, the crowds themselves just make it so much more memorable. It's crazy how much in tune they are compared to some of the crowds that we have over here in the US. But, the European crowds definitely have the hype behind them. I think it's going to ignite a fire more into our crowds as well to try to do a little bit better than them. You know what I mean? I think one thing that I wanted to touch base on first was that Gunther match. Gunther and then his surprise opponent obviously was Axiom. I think that was really good. We got to see why Gunther was so dominant in his IC title run. I mean, it takes you guys this long to get this man, your world champion of all people, into consistent matches. Like, come on, guys. That's why we were losing interest. Gunther's not wrestling, and he's doing promos. Like, yeah, the guy's a good promo guy, but let's get this man in the ring and into some competition with some high class competitors. I mean, Axiom, I might not know too much about him, but I know he can fight with the best of them. So him and Gunther put up a really good match as usual. I'm not surprised that, once Gunther had an opponent that he wasn't just supposed to squash and put into a sleeper hold and completely massacre their chest. That, they actually got to see something out of him that we were like, whoa, wait a minute. That's the spark that we saw a little bit a year ago. Kind of excited about that. I know that was pretty cool. I wanted to follow that up with the Charlotte and B-Fab match. I know the match was probably not as hyped as what people thought. However, I want to point out that B-Fab, came out looking like somewhat of a I want to say maybe she was coming out like she had a little bit of confidence, a chip on her shoulder type of thing. Maybe people are saying that, she's washed and she ain't the one to be in the ring with other competitors, especially like Charlotte, get squashed and stuff. But I will say it was a weird aura behind her. I would keep an eye out on her, guys, going forward. I don't know. I wasn't the hugest BFAB fan myself, but something just seemed different about her. I think maybe she is now thinking, hey, she's getting an opportunity, make the most of it. And I love people who try to make most of the opportunities, no matter how little time they have. That's always a plus. I want to talk about is finally my girl Tiffy time get some revenge on the Queen. Like, took a couple weeks of the Queen getting cheap shots, but there we go, Tiffany. Like, she started fighting her, beating the hell out of her. You got security, you got all these people coming out from the back, holding them back and all that. Tiffany's not stopping. She eventually, Jeff Hardy style, climbs up on the damn Titantron and straight up dives off it like no fucks given. I like that. That's the fire I want to see from her. That's the fight we got to see. I think that sparked a little more interest into that wrestling match, just because before it just seemed like they were just gonna push Tiffy down and Charlotte was just gonna go bang bang bang. Which, I mean, cool. I understand who the Charlotte Flair Queen character is, but let's get some of the young ladies a shot here. And Tiffany can hold her own. I'm a big Tiffany Stratton fan. If you guys couldn't tell, I am also going to be rooting for her at Mania to hopefully retain and hopefully not lose her title. Let's all pray that we don't have to just go through this endless cycle of Charlotte Flair just holding a title every single time she returns. That's really next thing. A little bit is the Cody Rhodes promo. Of course, I will say that the Cody promo, he's just coming out intense fire on a daily basis at this point. Whenever he's out there on a show, he just wants to see Cena in the ring. And that's point blank. It's as simple as that for Mr. Rhodes. One story I also thought was pretty interesting was where this Jade and Liv Morgan story is going, because Liv keeps enticing the situation that, hey, Jade, you think you know everything, but do you? And she's like really kind of getting into her head. That's why Jade said, you know what, me and you next week. Simple as that. You never know. Maybe we see that Liv is more right than wrong here. I personally also think that perhaps there's something or someone else that could be in the background. I mean, Jade pointed out that she knew it was Naomi because of what? Naomi running away? That's her running away. If you would at least said, like, yeah, she pushed me through the car or something, or slammed me into the hood and windshield, all right. Like, obviously, you know who the hell, attacked you. You're saying she's running away. That means Naomi wanted to be hidden, obviously, because she didn't want to get caught. But maybe she was just trying to do a hit and run real quick to let her master, quote unquote, know, oh, what's up, what's going on. This kind of seems very odd to me. A lot of people are thinking Bianca is the mastermind behind this. I'm not so sure of how I feel on it yet. I can see how Bianca could definitely be behind it, and then we set that up. However, if it's not going to happen at Mania, then I can see this being somewhat of a slower burn. Perhaps, you never know, guys. Maybe Bianca loses at Mania because of Jade. Naomi, spills the beans after Jade beats the hell out of her at Mania. And we go from there. Maybe Liv has something more to do with story than we think. I think keeping Liv relevant in this sense has been very nicely done by WWE, especially because, in my opinion, whoever starts holding the women's tag team titles tend to have a downward slope going forward. So I think Liv keep inserting herself into certain storylines and situations has always been healthy, and she's had a great year last year of keeping herself near or the top of the women's roster overall, honestly speaking. I really do respect that. Another promo that I think I want to touch base on is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman got an outstanding ovation from the crowd out there in Spain. He was basically out there as a hype man, as usual, the wise man. He said the OTC is returning next week to SmackDown, which is very interesting because a little bit after that, we saw CM Punk on Instagram saying that he will also be in Italy in SmackDown next week. So now we got two guys who are already showing up, and I'm going to tell you guys already that another man may or may not be showing up to next Friday night to, get an invitation to the parties, since he didn't really get a formal one anyways. He said he's going to show up. I'll touch on that in just a moment. One feud that I'm really not super excited about, but it's just going right now, is that Priest and Drew feud. Drew came out and beat the hell out of Priest, hit him in the goddamn head with the steel steps, since fan Priest is getting up again. Then he finally gets down and stays down after Drew has to claymore him, return to the ring, claymore him, and then stomp him in the head, and then, he's down for a little bit. I mean, I get it. Don't make Priest look weak by any means, but let's not have Drew look like he's on the same level either, in my opinion. I think Drew is definitely right there, top 3, top 4, maybe even top 2 right now, in just regards of his character and how he's another guy, hasn't even been in the world title picture, definitely trying to get back in there, but somehow someone always screws my man Drew. Let's get him out of this Priest feud. Let's get him to beat the hell out of Priest for costing him all these opportunities. Let's get him moving forward. I think it was pretty cool. I'm not sure why Nakamura got involved, just hit Priest afterwards with Kinshasa. Maybe he just wanted to get an extra freaking smack on him since he was about to lose. Possibly this could be something that Nakamura and Drew team up in the future. Let's see. I'm not sure how this is gonna play out right now. I think it's more of a, hey, I'm gonna beat your ass and you're not gonna do anything about it. Or you can't do anything about it. Whatever the situation is. Now, I want to switch gears to a certain title. I personally think that U.S. title looking on LA Knight's freaking waist looks perfect. That man was definitely built to be the U.S. champ. But I will say I didn't see Jimmy coming out there, followed by Solo coming out there as well. Jimmy wants to make his own path, just like Jay already has. And he says that LA Knight's the way. The U.S. title is only shot and only path to WrestleMania. I mean, let's not forget that he did call them the tag titles. Come on, Jimmy. You're a solo guy now, man. Come on. Let's get this together. It's all good. I like Jimmy personally. And then Solo coming out, almost dropping the F-bomb during his promo immediately. I'm like, oh, God. Solo, if you're going to hype up your boy Jacob Fatu, yeah, I guess you could drop the F-bomb. But, like, I'm glad you caught yourself. Funny reactions from Solo. They panned to Jimmy's face. He's laughing about it a little bit. That was pretty funny. You got to go back and check it out. I think something that was cool during that promo, however, was the fact that Solo hyped up and also said that Jacob is the guy who should be coming after the title, not himself. He made it seem like he was talking about himself, but in reality, he said Jacob needs the title opportunity. I know we saw a little bit of friction a couple weeks ago, and then we thought perhaps this was building up to a Solo versus Jacob Fatu matchup at Mania. I'm not so sure anymore. I could definitely see them kind of putting this on the back burner for now, having Solo be now Jacob's hype man, which I think is dope. Like, we didn't really see that in the original OG Bloodline, so this is kind of different. I think this is a different vibe, and even the promos that Jacob was pulling backstage earlier in the night, Solo was just hyping him up. He was his hype man right back. You could tell easily. So that relationship, I guess they're trying to show that it's rekindled. It's fine right now. You know, the Bloodline got each other's back. Solo got Jacob Fatu's back. I mean, Fatu has a big problem in the Monster Among Men right now. I hope that's not just going to be the delegation, the one-on-one matchup at Mania. I do hope Jacob gets into some type of U.S. title match. I'm hoping it's a multi-man match. I mean, I'm personally all game for that. You know, make it a ladder match, multi-man, throw like 4 or 5 people in there with LA Knight. Should be good to go. I don't think that would be a bad matchup at all. That way, you can even crown a new champion if you would like to. I think LA Knight's title reign could be in danger if it does become a multi-man match for that U.S. title. But let's wait and see. Personally, I'm a big Jacob Fatu fan. I think he's going to be the next big thing, if not already showing signs of it, clear signs of it. He has that different type of aura in him. When he comes out, you could just feel, all right, intensity just went up. Oh, cool, like, oh, shoot, what's he going to do this week? That type of, you know, hype and mystery behind a person always shoots them to the freaking moon, in my opinion. They're like a rocket. It does not matter. I think another guy who we don't know what he's going to do right now going forward is my man, the Viper, Randy Orton. He's pissed. He's been pissed. We've seen it since his return at the Chamber. I think from doing that matchup with Carmelo. Speaking of Carmelo Hayes is good. I don't understand how this man keeps losing every week, but he is good. I will say, I know he's on the losing column, but at least he's getting to put on a show on a more weekly basis. They show him a lot, and I think that also says a lot behind how much they actually do like Carmelo Hayes. And right now, it's WrestleMania season. You don't want to throw people into random feuds that just don't make sense just because it's WrestleMania season. So I do appreciate WWE at least playing this out somewhat smartly. Now, Orton obviously and Melo put up a good match. I'm not surprised by that. Both are great competitors. I think Orton obviously RKO out of nowhere to put Melo down. Then he got a little crazy. We saw him getting that little twinkle in his eyes, and he's like, you know what? Screw this. I tried shaking this man's hand, and he tried, blowing me off. Hit him with another RKO and punt the hell out of this man. And just as that punted kick is about to hit again, who comes to the save for Carmelo Hayes? Mr. Kevin Owens himself. KO is out there pulling Mello right from under the rope and being like, yeah, I got you. Then he tries freaking running his ass off through the crowd, or it catches him a little bit, gets a couple good hits on him. They fight very, very shortly. And then you can just see Orton staring this man down. Guys, we need to make this match last man standing, no holds barred, false count anywhere. We need them to fight all over the arena when it comes to Mania. We can't have this a normal one-on-one matchup. We got to make this interesting. I know we just had an unsanctioned match, so we can't really do that again. However, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think something big has to be taking place. Making a Hell in a Cell. Screw it. Something wild. We need some type of hype when it comes to this matchup. I think a lot of people are looking forward to it anyways. And we got to see if Randy Orton's going to go through that transformation and going to turn into the Deadly Viper as he once was many, many years ago. Now, I wanted to basically finish off my SmackDown recap with my boys. After 4 very long years, my boys, the Street Profits, are on top again. I like DIY. I think this is not the last we're going to see of them. Obviously, the Profits have Pretty Deadly waiting in the back corner since they're number 1 contenders now next. But let's just hype up the Street Profits, man. It took them 4 long years to become tag champs. This is their second reign. It's crazy to say that, considering how much talent they have. I personally think a lot of people talk about Montez Ford. Angelo Dawkins. Personally, I think he's improved a lot in that ring, man. He's improved a lot. A lot of people said that he was just going to get dumped to the side if they were to split up. And I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they kept going with it, fought through some of the hardest times of not winning anything. And they now are back on top. They got the gold, they got the power, and guess what? They're going to see who wants the smoke. You know what I'm saying, guys? So let's see how the Street Profits keep going forward with this. Just a quick side note, I do like Triple H giving us a little bit of surprises, within the last, I would say, 4 weeks maybe? A little bit longer possibly. Just with the different title changes. Boom, boom, boom. Does not matter who you are and what you're holding. You're in trouble to lose it. And it doesn't even matter if it's WrestleMania season. I like that. Unpredictability is always a plus, and WWE is very good with that, especially with Triple H's reign. He tends to put out and do things that people aren't the happiest with. However, there's always a plan in place. The game knows what he's doing. But yeah, I'm going to wrap that up for SmackDown for now. Let's move on to Brussels. We were on Raw yesterday during the day for me. I'm sure for the rest of you guys as well. One thing everybody was looking forward to for Raw, and I know everyone here can agree, was John Cena. What was heel Cena going to bring out? What was he going to say? Everybody's waiting to see what kind of attire he's coming out, new music. Let's see what's going on with it. Cena did come out, kicked off the show, of course. Comes out, he does a nice lengthy promo, Cena style, full heel. I loved every second of it. He did come out with the same attire and the same music, and he mentions it in promo saying hey, the people want that, guess what? Sucks. You ain't getting whatever you want. He's sick and tired of being our puppet, in his words. I thought some of the shit he was saying was crazy. And I can't believe he even pointed out that little kid. Shout out to the little man in the crowd yesterday. Hey, man, screw Cena. You got this, dude. Shoot. Cena basically said, F them kids out there while cutting his promo. This man's on a different type of level. I like it. You're telling me this is the heel Cena we were missing? This is the heel Cena we've been waiting for many, many years. I'm glad we at least got it. Better late than never, ladies and gentlemen. Shit. I mean, he said so many crazy things. Eventually, it brought, our boy QB1, Cody Rhodes out. Cody Rhodes coming out. And it's crazy. I want to note that Cena had everything to say. And then Cody Rhodes comes out. Doesn't say anything. He says 2 words. Listen, kid. And then Cody Rhodes stops him, goes off on him, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, this is interesting. They're not having Cena go into a full promo battle with Mr. Rhodes yet. I think it was more so to see a reaction of how the crowd would be in that sense. Cody Rhodes obviously came out, said his shit, said that he wants to face the actual John Cena, not whoever this fake shell of John Cena is. He said if that fake shell heel Cena shows up at Mania, he's retiring that man. Big words from our QB1. Let me tell you that. He's gonna be a little upset when, bold prediction, Cena takes that 17th. I don't know if it's super bold prediction. I think it's a 50-50 shot regardless because of Cena turning heel. I could see him losing and going on to this crazy warpath of just trying to get the title, like a Randy Orton Edge back in the day. You know, you're just losing your freaking mind. You just need that title. You need that record. Maybe we see him going into a freaking crazy dark path. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. I'm really not. I don't know how it's going to be going. I think right after Cena and Cody were done, well, Cody, I guess, and Cena just ended up dropping the mic and walking out. I like this heel persona. I think it's going to be well. We'll see both of them next week again. I'm loving it. See both of them next week one more time. One feud I definitely want to touch base on. However, I'm going to touch base on it at the end since it also pertains to our main event. This is a Dirty Dom situation with Finn Balor. However, like I said, we'll come back to that later in the episode. Right now, let's continue on to the LWO American Made feud. I don't know where this is going, in a sense, at first. I didn't know if they were actually trying to pull off this, hey, this isn't Chad Gable behind under the mask. And obviously Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile are fighting. American Made gets involved. Chad Gable gets out there, followed by, you hear the LWO's music, Rey Mysterio and company running out, setting up a match for later in the night, it seems like, between those two and the American Made. And once again, after that match is set up later in the night, guess who shows up? It's that masked luchador again. Not sure why or how they're pulling it off right now, in the sense that they think we're just that dumb, I guess. That's not Chad Gable. But I find it a hilarious comedy act, personally. This guy Chad Gable's running around denying it's him when he's pulling out the same damn moves as the quote-unquote mystery luchador. And then his damn mask, guys, if you look at it carefully, it's the American Made. It's not even written in Spanish. Like, hello? Who do you think it is if it's not Chad Gable? I just don't know. This could possibly be setting up a match with Gable and Mysterio at Mania. I'm not really sure. I assume that's why they keep hyping it up. I like Chad Gable. I think he's a good wrestler. I think he should have won that IC title when he first turned heel and the hype was behind him. And right now they're just trying to build him up again. I think he lost momentum. And this is a good refresher. He's a comedy act, but, he's trying to be taken serious at the same time because he's been overlooked quite a bit. He's also trying to get his new team to get in line and win some gold so that no one is overlooked anymore. So I like that. I like that Chad Gable is kind of taking initiative and making this whole team. And in a sense, yes, he is making about him, but he's not. It's fine. One match I was disappointed in, I can't believe it really just went down as it did, was Jey Uso and Austin Theory. My man took a spear to lose the match in about 15-20 seconds, it seems like. We're burying Austin Theory now? Damn. Like, I'm not a huge Austin Theory or Grayson Waller fan, but shoot, I didn't expect them to get buried, of all things. That's something I did not see coming. Especially off a crossbody spear combo thing, whatever the hell that was that Jay hit him with to end it. After that, of course, Gunther tries attacking, getting with the sleeper. They fight a little bit. Jay eventually gets to He rips the title off his waist. Gunther is running. He runs out of the corner. He's chilling there. Jay throws a title on him. Seems like a lot of hype. Jay finally got an upper hand in a week. I think that was the whole point, so it doesn't make Jay look too weak. Also, doesn't make it too predictable, because if Jay really did keep, if he keeps getting his ass beat every week, obviously we're gonna think that he's gonna win at Mania. I think we still think that, because if they were to make Jay win the Rumble just for him to go all the way around and lose in the end, I'm not sure how much that helps his character. I think it would help Gunther a little bit if he squashed him, but if he puts up a good match and then loses again, it's like, all right, we ran this many times, and why'd we run it again at Mania? Unless they have something in place. Never know. I expect Jay and everybody else at Mania to yeet respectfully after he holds up that gold and beating Gunther. Personally, I think that match will start out the night. I don't know if there's as much hype behind that as WWE wants it there to be. One story that is gaining momentum very quickly is that Bianca and Io, with Rhea in the background, being very, very much talked about very, very quickly. Reason being contract signing. We all know contract signings never go smoothly anyways. So as they're signing the contract, Io signs, Bianca's about to, and of course Rhea's music hits. She gets out there, she's heated, pissed. Adam Pearce like, no, we're not doing this right now. That doesn't stop her. She ends up slamming both of them on the table, steals the contract, followed by leaving, and once she left, she also signed her name on it. Adam Pearce over here, my man is freaking out, man. If he had any hair, I'll be like, yo, my man's gonna lose all his hair, but shoot, this is probably the reason how he lost it already. All this stress on Raw every damn week. So Adam Pearce later in the night is now in the backstage area. He's like, can't be doing this. And boom, here comes Io and Bianca starting to fight Rhea. And the three of them are fighting and beating the hell out of each other. Clearly, this is the triple threat women's match. I think they should just kind of come out and announce it rather than do this little back and forth brawl thing, just because you just wasted time and we know where it's going already. Let's just set up the Mania matches and let the actual wrestlers take care of the hype of it. We know what's going to happen. Might as well let them, do their thing. So I think next week it should officially be announced, in my opinion, that it's a triple threat for the women's championship. However, I don't know if it will be. Knowing WWE, will be another setup or kind of match. But I think next week should be where we officially get the announcement. Let's get this done with. Let's get this over with. And let's move on, please. Then we have one man who I'm a big fan of. I don't know if it was necessary to have him out there for about 15, 20 minutes, it seemed like yesterday. My man Seth Rollins came out there for a simple promo. And as I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about Paul Heyman's promo during that SmackDown episode, the third man who's going to be meeting CM Punk and Roman Reigns on SmackDown is Seth Rollins. He came out there just to say, like, hey, you guys aren't going to have all the fun without me. I'll see you guys on Friday night. This is, of course, the triple threat match that everybody has heard rumors about for Mania. Personally, I would like to see this match, main event night 1, just because the storyline is 3 very good hype men and talkers. They can put them on a good match, in my opinion. I think CM Punk has really shown us in the year 2025 that he still got it, match-wise. Promos-wise, he's always been there. I don't think that's really been an issue. I think he's been kind of getting more relaxed with his promos and just being himself, which is always great. It's not a problem at all. We already know the tribal chief and the architect who, as Rollins says, he has to architect a plan for Roman again to try to take out Punk. This whole Punk and Seth thing is going so crazy. It's definitely going to spill over after Mania as well. However, let's right now concentrate on the Mania side of it. And I do have a bold prediction for, I'm going to mention a little bit later, or a rumor, I guess you could say, about this whole situation. However, I'll touch base on that in just a little bit. Just want to wrap up Monday night, and that was with that IC title match. Our boy Finn Balor versus Braun Breaker, the IC champion. I mean, so it was a good match. I'm not suspecting that or doubting that at all. I also think Balor, as usual, puts up a good match, loses. He could have won. I can see where they could have won. However, I mean, sure, I guess they didn't want to have him win. Braun Breaker is a good champion and just got to make him look strong. I think that's another man who's going to be going into Mania in a multi-man match originally is what I thought. However, earlier in that night, when after Ludwig lost to Penta, Penta said he's coming after the IC champion. So I could definitely see that being the match for Mania. However, we still now have Balor on the side. Maybe Dirty Dom gets involved. You never know. So that could easily turn into a multi-man match as well this year at Mania. And Dirty Dom suggested to Balor, like, hey, we're still missing some muscle and some people. Why don't we get Penta into the Judgment Day? Balor was not happy with this. He was heated. He thinks Dirty Dom is scheming and doing some bullshit. I personally agree with Balor on this one. Dirty Dom and Liv are up to something. And honestly, in my opinion, let them betray Balor. Balor, you got to get yourself out of that feud, dude. Get yourself, sorry, not the feud. Get yourself out of that group. You know, feud can continue. We need Balor back on the good side, I think. Last night, you see Balor come out. It's almost like dead silence during his freaking entrance. It's bad. Let's get him back to his own music, back to the hype good guy. Let's repackage Balor, man. We have to get him right. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Balor is getting dead silent types of things, then it's not really helping anyone, in my opinion, at least. I don't know what's going to be happening with that. I hope this leads to some type of implosion, breakup between Dom and Balor for the Judgment Day. I mean, Dom did cost him the match by getting involved. Balor pretty much had the match won before that happened. He told Dom to kind of, I wouldn't say stay out of it, but he's gonna tell him that. Followed by, now Balor has a choice. Either he goes after the IC title, or maybe they're not involved. Maybe it's just gonna be a Dirty Dom versus Finn Balor matchup at Mania. That would be pretty good. I can see that happening. But for that to happen, we gotta definitely get this betrayal going and those seeds that have been planted, let them grow. Let them grow, let them sprout, and let's get this feud rolling. I always like Mania time because a lot of feuds get hot. However, some feuds we don't expect start to happen as well. I really didn't expect a Balor versus Dirty Dom feud for Mania, but hey, I'm cool with it. We have about a month left till Mania anyways. So next week, let's get this started, if that is the plan. I can see that, or a multi-man. Yeah, that's a wrap for the Raw side. Raw overall wasn't too bad. Of course, I just want to mention that crowd during the promos, during certain people coming out, especially John Cena. Man. There was so much heat on John Cena. It was insanity. I think him showing up for the whole European tour is a great move by WWE. It's going to only help them. And I wanted to just touch base on a few things I heard, in the grapevine, a couple rumors, I guess you could say. Or just some side opinions I heard about. One thing I think a lot of people have heard is WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is going to need some backup. And I'm hearing now in Vegas a certain rattlesnake is going to be available. So who better to go face to face with the final boss as backup for Cody Rhodes than the man who couldn't show up last year, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think Stone Cold showing up to Mania will be one of the craziest hypes. We hear the glass shatter. I think everybody's going absolutely bonkers in Vegas. So let's definitely look forward to that. I did hear that Stone Cold was going to show up to the World Tour event that happens a few days right before Mania going into it. So I think that's a huge sign. Like, he's already gonna be in Vegas. Don't be surprised if I show up. Maybe the Brahma Bull doesn't know what he's doing or doesn't know who Cody has as backup. I know the final boss says he's 20 steps ahead. Let's hope he still is. That's all I can say. Another thing that I wanted to touch base on is the fact that on Raw, after Austin Theory lost, Theory and Grayson Waller challenge Jey Uso and a partner of his choice next week on Raw. That's going to be taking place in Scotland. Now, I've been thinking on who that could be. One guy from Scotland that hit me late. Joe Hendry. Never know. What if WWE is using Joe Hendry as a hype guy for Jay? I mean, hey, why not? Those two guys are freaking two of the hypest people I've seen recently. Jay's on another level, but Joe Hendry's not far behind at all. And that's gonna be a great pop for him, especially in his home. I think it would be great. So let's see if Joe Hendry can show up next week and kind of pull that off. That would be dope. I hope WWE doesn't disappoint us. I mean, I could possibly see a Jimmy showing up, but I'm not sure if they would plug Jimmy in here. I could just see it though as like a reunion type of thing. But let's really hope it's Joe Hendry. I think that'll be a cool surprise and a good way to get Joe Hendry to show up on a random Raw. It really says a lot about the TNA WWE partnership that way. Another guy I heard rumors about who's now cleared is my man Uncle Howdy. Does that mean the Wide Six are coming back? I feel like that's why we may not have seen Alexa Bliss recently, possibly, is because maybe they're just gonna incorporate her back into the Wide Six situation. Possibly this is where Liv Morgan and Raquel, they get involved. Maybe Alexa Bliss and, I don't know, Nikki Cross get together to go after the tag titles. Hopefully we do see something about the Wide Six come Mania time. I thought they were a very hot group when they first debuted. Obviously, Uncle Howdy, a.k.a. Bo Dallas, something personal was happening to him, so he had to leave for a little bit. However, I heard now he's clear and good to go again, so hope everything's all right with Bo. And we'll see you in the ring very soon, Uncle Howdy. Shoot. I really hope you go after whoever the hell you got to take care of business with. One guy, not sure if this goes down as a rumor, but more of a hope, I guess, is my man LA Knight. This is why I mentioned earlier in the episode that there's a chance he loses that U.S. title. I know he just got it. But that Money in the Bank pay-per-view is happening in L.A., and LA Knight, I mean, what better place to have that man win the Money in the Bank briefcase? I could see that happening, followed by then him possibly cashing in at SummerSlam. Maybe we have a heel Cena with the title. He retains it. LA Knight comes out end of the night to try to, maybe get an upper hand and win that title from him. We did see a little bit of a LA Knight and John Cena interaction a little last year, I believe. And I think that was maybe planted the seeds as well. Long-term storytelling. That's all Triple H does. So possibly he, calls a throwback to that. I think it would be really interesting to see LA Knight win the Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm a big LA Knight guy. Yeah. To win the freaking title. And hopefully he's a champion. So I think that's something that will be pretty dope. Now, ladies and gentlemen, wrapping it up. That's it for this week's episode. Hope you guys appreciated everything that was said today, and hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in again. Appreciate it as always. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I will see you guys next time. Stay tuned.